Part 5, Reminiscing on Regret. We had such a good time in San Antonio, so we got back that Sunday. We went and picked up Hunter from the babysitter in Missouri City, and while we were out that way, we swung by my home in Fresno so that I could grab more clothes. Now, by this time, Hunter was already fully enrolled in the daycare outside of Randy's subdivision. So, on certain days in the beginning and at the middle of the month of August, I was transitioning clothes from my house to his house gradually. Randy always worked Monday through Thursday. He was off every Friday. One Thursday evening, when he got off work, we drove out to Fresno, and I watched this man take a dolly off the back of his truck and walk right into my house and move my washer and dryer by himself just with the help of a dolly. This man was 6 feet, 325 pounds, a giant. He grabbed them one by one and placed them on his truck and ensured that they were secure. So we went back to his house and he installed my washer that same night in his house, but he didn't have the capability to install my dryer. I was also grabbing miscellaneous things from out of my house, such as kitchen stuff, more clothes for me and my children, anything, frankly, that could fit in his truck. I remember Lauren saying to me, "Man, I love this house. It's much newer and nicer than ours," which in reality, I love that house. It had some issues, but it was truly a beautiful home. So since I didn't pay August rent, my attorney told me that I needed to kind of get my things out of that home as quick as possible and try to have everything moved out before the 1st of September. I barely needed movers though, because Randy wanted to move all of my things on his own, but I still hired movers anyway. All of my things were moved out before this September date. So school started for Walker and Lauren on August 22nd. Now, Michael wanted Walker to attend the school closest to his home, which was a couple of exits down from where Randy lived. Remember, I told you about 10 minutes. I was okay with this arrangement. However, Randy told me that it made absolutely no sense to him because Michael would be paying for Club Rewind, which is a before and after school program for Walker. Randy indicated that he works from home. True enough. Lauren rides the bus to and from school. True enough. He could ensure that Walker was on and off the bus each day with Lauren. Plan sounded amazing to me. Michael could save money. It was another win-win. I worked downtown, so my commute would have me home daily close to the time that they was getting off the bus anyway, but I always left home before Lauren and Walker got up for school. Hunter always rode with me in the morning time because I would drop him off at daycare before I headed downtown. So in reality, everything flowed pretty good. So we attend open house. We actually attended open house at Michael's school of choice first, even though Walker ended up going to the school in the neighborhood with Lauren. So we pull up to meet Michael, Walker, and surprisingly, Michael's mama was in attendance, Ronnie. It's not out the ordinary for his sweet mama to be there. She very active in Michael's life and very active as a grandmother in Walker's life. And I am so very grateful to God for her continued support all these years. So I introduced Randy to Ronnie. They chit chat for a moment while Michael and I meet Walker's substitute because Walker's teacher was out on maternity leave or something like that. Anywho, after we met the staff, we proceeded to walk outside. We began to say our goodbyes to one another, just chit-chatting. But remember, I told y'all how goofy Michael is. So Michael put me in a headlock, and he take his knuckle and put them in my head and say, "All right, bye, nigga," like he always do. So by this time, I done punched him. Square up, nigga. I said, "Say, man, we ain't little no more." What's up? So we laugh. All right. Michael mama, Ronnie, she like, "Mike, stop doing her like that before you hurt her." So I hug Ronnie and we walk off. Remember now, Randy reacted to me pushing Michael's phone to check that time real bad. So he was furious at how Michael handled me. He indicated at that time like, "Hey man, he still love you." I said, "Who? Michael? Child, please." That nigga bent over me. That man said, "No, the way he look at you, the way he touch you, there's definitely some feelings still there." I was like, "Nah, shawty, you tripping." I had no idea that this relationship was about to take a serious turn. The devaluation phase. Once you've let your guard down and you get comfortable in the relationship, red flags start to appear. Your partner may try to exert control over you in a variety of ways. They may become more demanding of your time and get upset when you make plans without them. They may also try to limit access to your friends and family and gaslight you into thinking nothing is wrong with their behavior. In the most severe cases, they may use fear and intimidation to get you to behave differently than you normally would and even resort to physical violence. Part 6, Reminiscing on Regret. Now, significant things have occurred in a short time frame. Here's a small recap. I met Randy for the first time in person on July 23rd. I spent the night on July 24th. I came back the night of July 25th and never spent another night in my house. Hunter began daycare on August 1st. Randy and I attended Elevation Worship Concert on August 6th. Lauren and Walker started school on August 22nd. All of my belongings were removed from my home before September 1st by movers. Going back to the subject now of my things being moved, I got a storage unit as I knew that a lot of things would not fit in Randy's house. So Randy did have one room that was unfurnished, which turned out to be my boys' room. I had every single room in my 3-bedroom home furnished. I had a king size bed set and 2 queen size bed sets. Randy, though, was adamant about taking my queen size bedroom set that was in Walker's room and placing it in Lauren's room. Lauren had a full-size bed, but it was so hard and it looked very cheap. So I agreed to let that baby have that bed. Walker does go in between me and Michael's house, so I said we'll put Hunter's bed in the other room and Lauren's bed can be Walker's bed. Now, Hunter and Walker, they sleep together. So I moved some more miscellaneous stuff, like the 55-inch TV. He wanted that TV to go into his daughter's room. I said, no, bro, that's going in the boys' room, period. So here are a couple of things that I learned about Randy early on once we began living together. One thing is that he enjoyed confrontation. He always wanted to argue about something and it would just frustrate me. He would try to go into our bedroom and talk to me like he was speaking to a child. Hey, baby, I don't like what you said to me or how you did that, but we're going to work through it. I love you. Y'all, I honestly never knew what I was doing wrong. And for the record, I was never really doing anything wrong, but trying to be the best woman that I could for him. As at this point, we was living together. We was trying to build with one another. Also, since I didn't disclose this information previously, it is important to note that I did pay all the utilities. I got Lauren's hair done and she mostly wore braids. So, that wasn't an every week thing. But he mostly paid for groceries and he paid all the rent. So as I began settling in with him at his home, he told me that he only wanted me to do one thing in that house, and that was to cook. So I was a little taken aback because, as the woman of the house, I like to do laundry. I like to cook, wash dishes, clean. Baby called me the clean up a woman. I thrive on Fabuloso and bleach, baby. Don't have me boiling water for the old seal. Okay. But I didn't take it literal when he said this. I noticed, though, that he would wait specifically until I went to work and he would do laundry for all of us. He was super OCD. He had everything in my closet and the children's closet color coordinated. He bought thousands of hangers. He wanted everything hung up in the closet. He had some real drill sergeant type of ways. It reminded me of a military mindset. Mind you, I'm going to bring that back up a little later. Randy also had expectations of me, and baby, was they unrealistic. He expected me to do everything just like he said. He wanted and needed my location on my phone. I was unable to put my own gas. I was unable to go places without confirming with him where I was going first. If I left work for the day without letting him know that I had left and was headed home, that was an argument. I was unable to go to church by myself. I was unable to embrace others around him. I had to usually have the door open while trying to use the bathroom. No phones at the dinner table. I never even had a key to this man's house, but I had the code to the keypad on the front door. I was even unable to drink liquor around him. So we began going to the small church that he was attending before I met him. I learned that he started attending this church because one of his teammates is in ministry at the church. For purposes of this series, his name is Gavin. I got cool with Gavin and his wife, Quita. They were also a part of the online ministry where I met Randy. They were happy for us and we both used them for wise counsel. But let me just tell you something. Here is a lesson for you. Don't ever discount what a person tells you about someone that they actually know. They actually knew Randy. I didn't. They knew things about Randy that I should have known about Randy when I first met him. So when I began to tell them things that I was experiencing in my relationship with Randy, Gavin for sure knew exactly what I was talking about. And he knew that there was no capping in what I was saying to him. Mainly because he knew of issues that Randy had that still hadn't been dealt with. And it's very sad to say that to this day, I still cherish my relationship and my friendship with Gavin. But it will never be the same again because, unfortunately, when relationships happen the way that this relationship went down, sometimes just the rekindling of certain things is hurtful. But yeah. Part 7, Reminiscing on Regret. So let's get back to the timeline of events. I came home on September 2nd and Randy told me that we were going out for dinner. I asked him, like, where were we going? He said, listen, don't worry about that. Go in the bedroom, look on the bed. He had already picked me out something to wear for this date. I walked into the room. I saw a pink dress with jewelry already laid out. Now, one thing about Randy, he loved buying me jewelry and dresses. So I hopped in the shower. I got dressed. He asked Lauren to take pictures of us and we drove on out to dinner. I had no idea where we were headed, but we did end up at Eddie V's. Eddie V's is nice. It's chill. It's laid back. They had live music that night. Now, he told me at the restaurant that he could really see himself with me for years to come and he wanted us to be a family. He explained to me how much he cherishes our relationship and how he was ready to spend forever with me. Now, in the informational video, I've already explained to you what love bombing is. Please go watch it if you haven't. But I believed him. I really did. We left Eddie V's and he told me, hey, I got another surprise for you. But he told me that I would have to be blindfolded. Now, baby, I'm claustrophobic. If I can't see where I'm going, my anxiety go up the roof. So we drove for about 7 minutes and we finally stopped and he's guiding me out the truck. Now I can hear people, I can hear cars passing by, but I have no idea where we could have been. So after him guiding me for a minute, we finally stopped. He took the blindfold off of me. So now I see a waterfall behind us. There's a phone on the tripod. I got people over here on the left sitting at the bench. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing here. That man looked at me and said what any man would say before they popped the big question. You know I love you, right? I believe you the woman God sent to me. I want this forever with you, baby. I really, really want to get this with you. Baby, that man got on one knee and asked me to marry him. It's people in the back cheering. I'm crying because I'm confused. Like, I knew I liked Randy, but I had just got a divorce like 2 months prior. Even though me and my ex-husband had been separated for a year, I was so discombobulated, but I did say yes. I ain't gonna lie. The ring was absolutely beautiful. I mean, my finger went like that when he put it on. Heavy. Fun fact though about your girl, I've been engaged 3 times, so I know that I'm worthy of a ring now. Now, I ended up marrying one of them, but I shouldn't have accepted nobody had an engagement or in marriage, honey. Because slim picking for me, sisters. Slim picking for me. But I did. I got on that phone. I called my mom. I called a couple of my close friends and I said, y'all, this man has proposed to me. Most folks was like, who? Because they didn't even have a clue that I was even involved with anybody at this point. Because everything happened extremely fast. We got back to the house. He had already sent Lauren pictures of us, doing the whole thing. He had already sent Lauren the whole video of the engagement. She had no idea what was going on. Like at 10 years of age, because she was 10 at that time, she had no idea what was going on. And he looked at her when we got home and he said, this is your stepmom. This is now your stepmom. And I looked at her. She looked at me. And I was just like, yeah, babe, I'm your stepmom. Now, what's really sad, though, about this situation is that, remember I stated in a previous part that it is so, 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 so important to consider children's mental health, especially over your own. Lauren needed me. She needed that motherly love. She needed the support that I gave her. She needed me to be the ear for her. She's a growing little girl, and she needed this type of motherly figure in her life. And part of the reason that I stayed longer than I desired to with Randy is because of Lauren. My family knows this, and I'm telling you this in all transparency. Sometimes children have a hold on your heart, and that girl did, and she still does to this day. It is so unfortunate that she had to see me as a woman go through something like what I went through with her dad, because I have no idea how I would deal with seeing a woman being put through what I was put through if my dad was on the other side of that. Because it does something to you as a woman to see a woman cry, to see a woman go through certain things. And yes, I will get to what happened, but I seen things that happened to that little girl while I was living there that I will not disclose in this series, but I pray for that child daily because she has to have that relationship with the Lord when she gets to be my age, because she has obviously seen a lot, not just with me, but I believe she's seen a lot before me. And I just pray, man, for these children's mental health, because children see way too much these days. They really do. So, yeah. Part 8. Reminiscing on regret. The next day is September 3rd. I woke up. I'm staring at this rock on my freaking finger. So I get up, and I had an appointment that day, but I still joined that Zoom call for the online ministry. They made the announcement that Randy and I was engaged, and they extended prayer over us at the beginning of the call. What was strange to me, though, was Ashley's demeanor. Y'all remember Ashley, the friend from Mississippi? Everyone said congrats on that Zoom call but her, and she seemed to be a little upset based on her facial expression. So I'm a bit confused by it. Now, what I do know is that back in the day, Ashley and Randy had a run-in. But let me explain the run-in. And I didn't know this at the very beginning. Randy invited Ashley to his home, but Randy was still of the world. Now, if you don't know what that means, he was still actively seeking earthly desires, and he wasn't interested in celibacy and things of that nature. However, Ashley was practicing celibacy. She went over to his house. Now, this is his version of the story. I don't know if it's 100% accurate or not, but she told him that she was celibate. He said that they chilled and she went home after that. He told me nothing occurred. But y'all, I really don't know. So the online ministry, they really showed love that day though. We were also scheduled to have a meet and greet with the online ministry in Dallas on September 22nd. So I was very excited to meet everybody that I hadn't already met. So we left and headed to Dallas on September 21st. Before we made it to Dallas, we dropped Lauren off with Randy's mom. So I got a chance to meet his mama, his auntie, his sisters, his nieces, and his nephews. Also, I forgot to tell y'all, Randy could cut hair real good. So while we was down there, he chopped up his nephews. We left and we headed to Dallas. And then we got there, we checked into our room. And then on the morning of the 22nd, we got up, we grabbed breakfast, and we headed out to community service with the online ministry and a nonprofit organization. I started meeting people, getting acclimated to the people I normally see on Zoom. Now, they started out pretty amazing, but I looked up all of a sudden and I noticed that Ashley popped up. Y'all, Ashley walked right past me and basically tried to shove her way past me. Y'all, it wasn't Christ-like what came out of my mouth, but I basically told her to mess around and find out, okay? I'm really trying to keep this PG rated because this has to be told differently. We had words. Again, I have no idea what her beef is or was with me. Yes, she may have had a run-in in my fiance in the past, but baby, in my opinion, if you ain't had sex with him or if y'all was in a full-blown relationship exclusive, I wasn't really seeing the issue. And he also confirmed that he never touched this girl. Anywho, I got pulled to the side by a couple of the women in the ministry, and one sister specifically stated to me that Ashley was told by God that my fiance was supposed to be her husband, and that she knew that God was talking specifically about Randy because he was a single father and he had a beard. Child, I was flabbergasted because, ma'am, what? But my good sis said, sis, obviously that's your husband and not hers. And please just don't pay it no mind because this is possibly a distraction for you. Now, here's a message, though, in this. See, in the word, it says in Galatians 6:1-2, brothers, if anyone is caught in any transgression, you who are spiritual should restore him in a spirit of gentleness. Keep watch on yourself, lest you too be tempted. Bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. See, Ashley was hurting, and instead of me clapping back, the right thing to do would have been to actually seek out for myself why she reacted in the way she did. Ashley did try to reach out to me by phone before the Dallas trip. I believe it was before the Dallas trip, but I was unavailable and I asked her to send me a text because seriously, I was at church and I believe her response was never mind. But in reality, if I could rewind time, I would love to have had a conversation with her because she could have been possibly warning me about something she felt or knew. Or it could have been her informing me that she really thought he was made for her. Either way now, we'll never know because guess what? Jill don't care. That ain't my man no more. Sis, you can have him. You understand me? Ashley can have him now. Period. Part 9, Reminiscing on Regret. Randy and I started having disagreements here and there shortly after our engagement. Now, I've mentioned prior that shacking up ain't the way to go. See, Randy made sure that within my first month of living with him, that my last name was changed back to my maiden name. He also told me that my marriage really didn't count because it was too short. So in the back of my head, I already knew that I wasn't interested in going through any more additional drama because I was so drained of that from my previous relationship. What I thought I needed was a little help financially, man in the household to help me with these boys, and somebody to really love me. But what God was doing prior to me meeting Randy was pruning me spiritually for his glory. He was preparing me for my real husband. He was showing me how strong I was through him to be able to withstand raising 2 little boys on my own, and through it all, remaining faithful to his word. You know, he will never leave you, nor will he forsake you. Yet again, here I am finding myself in another situation that I had the opportunity to walk clean out of or not even pursue it in the first place. And now I'm a little stuck. Still, at this time, there was still no sex involved. Here's a message. Dating a narcissist can be dizzying to anyone who is lonely, depressed, eager for a relationship, or who has low self-esteem. Lust and hope prompt you to rationalize or overlook troublesome signs. The best defense is to have a fulfilling life, friends, and a healthy self-esteem. Be upfront about your needs, your dislikes, and your boundaries, and don't cancel other commitments and obligations to be with them. Remember that knowledge about one another takes time, and love and commitment take longer. Now, as I continued attending church with him, I began to manifest divine connections with people inside that church. Now, granted, I began visiting the church with him in August, so now I was becoming a familiar face. We didn't really miss any Sundays at church. One thing I did desire was a man that would attend church with me. He didn't have to be in ministry, but I wanted him to seek after God in order to help lead this family. Randy wanted to be in ministry, or so he said. He did have a leadership role within that online ministry. He was like their outreach coordinator. So he would assist in finding venues to help feed homeless, unload and load things into a storage unit. He was just being present for the community. I love every bit of this because one thing about me, I'll give the less fortunate the clothes off my back and the shoes off my feet. I'll even wash their feet because that's what Jesus did for real. So there were 3 different nonprofit or 501c3 organizations that I supported with Randy on a regular, almost 2 to 3 times a month. We were very active. We loved serving together. We even had the kids out there most times serving with us. Due to my respect for these organizations and for confidentiality purposes, I will not name these organizations, but I will reference the individuals in those organizations by using fictitious names. So I met the most honorable and resilient human beings while being connected to Randy. Most of them, if not all, are also in some form of ministry, whether they're street preachers or they just people that know that they got callings on their life, but they really hadn't tapped into it fully yet. Now I want to introduce some real key individuals that will be used throughout the entirety of these series. Here's a correction though on part 8, that Dallas trip, it occurs September 17th. It is my apologies. I know that I need to clear things up. Another thing I'm going to try to do is correct myself if I find error in anything that I've said previously, because I need to ensure that this story is told with all accuracy for my sake. On September 10th, 2 of the 3 organizations paired up with another and hosted a community giveaway at a storage unit. I had a hair appointment that morning, so Randy got all the children and took them out to the event with him. The event started at 1, but volunteers were always asked to be there to begin volunteering at least 2 to 3 hours before the start of the event. I pulled in and I spotted Randy. However, no, in front of me, there was a silver crossover with a beautiful lady hollering out her window. Randy asked that lady to let me through the gate because I was his fiance and I needed to park. Now, one thing that Randy took a lot of pride in is this trophy that he had on his arm. Now, baby, look at me. Prize. But here's a message. Narcissists are drawn to people who enhance their image or status, such as someone successful, someone talented, or someone attractive. If you qualify, they brag to impress you so that you will like and admire them. Some narcissists will ask about you and mirror your taste and interests, which can feel flattering. They may even reveal flaws or sad stories about themselves to arouse your sympathy. Make no mistake, power and control are essential to them. They evaluate how interested you are in them, how supportive, how pliable, and accommodating you are. Baby, the narcissist is something else. So I remember, her waving and saying, "Hey, baby," as she putting a code in to let me in the gate. So I go and I park. He come around and he walked me to at the front. Now, I met baby Jesus' little brother on his daddy's side, and on my soul, that's what we call him in real life. But for this series, his name is Will. I also met his wife, Joy. Through them, I met Carter and TJ, who are great friends of Will and Joy. All 4 of them are affiliated within the same organization. Now, these 4 people were also in Dallas, but I only really held conversations with Joy while we were serving out there. Now, their organization would always host events each month. Remember that lady, though, that led me through that gate? Well, baby, that was the one and only Big Mama, a.k.a. Miss Gangsta Queen herself. Yeah, gangsters need love and Jesus, too. And baby, she anointed. What they had said about baby D, do hair, sell dope, and babysit all in the same house? Well, baby, she'll get with you, anoint your head with holy oil, and have you put in your place without allowing any foul language to come out of her mouth. She is the epitome of standing on business. Let me not fail to mention, y'all, she got a gold tooth right at the front of her mouth. Now, also on that Dallas trip, I had the pleasure of connecting with a wonderful man named Josh and his sister Casey. Josh is a founder of one of the other organizations. I cannot recall if Josh was a part of the event on September 10th, but it's important that I bring him up now. I later found out that Will, Carter, and Josh all went to college with Randy, so it was amazing to be connected to such good men. 1 Peter 4:10-11 says, "Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. Do not be slothful in zeal, be fervent in spirit, serve the Lord." So on that day, we served the Lord, people. And I knew that it would not be my last time serving. When I tell you the amount of people that showed up to that storage unit that needed items was ridiculous, I love the fact that this was something that Randy enjoyed doing because it gave me the opportunity to see his heart used for the greater good. I packed the children up in my car before the event was over because, baby, it was hot as hell that day and I had just got a relaxer. Baby, I took them children home, I ordered a pizza, and I waited on Randy to get home. Overall, serving with him these past couple of times were great. Part 10, Reminiscing on Regret. The next Sunday, I spotted Big Mama at church, and I had no idea she was a member of Randy's church. I never saw her there before. I most definitely approached her. I said, "Ma'am, I I remember you from the event that Will and them had a couple Saturdays back. She said, yeah, baby, Will, my son. Now, granted, Big Mama and Will had the same type of texture hair. I thought that this was his real mama, but she later revealed to me in a conversation that he was her spiritual son. I told her, you remember me though, Randy fiance? She said, yeah, baby, mama remember you. Baby, from that point forward, Big Mama was my mama, and still to this day, she my mama. I grew so close to Big Mama over that entire relationship with Randy. Child ain't no get back. Now, it was hard for me to have conversations with people without Randy attempting to interrupt the conversation. So as I am getting Big Mama's contact information, Randy walks on over, hugs her. Hey, Mama, what's up? She called mostly all of us in outreach, though, her sons and daughters. I ain't think anything of it at the time, and I was also happy to know that he had a relationship with her. I knew that with her type of spirit, she was going to be around for quite a long time in my life. I told her that I would start contacting her, and we instantly became connected. It really wasn't a day that went by that I wasn't either calling or texting Big Mama. Now, she a big speaker for real. These are facts. She's a life coach, a counselor. She's an elder of the church. Baby, she everything you need her to be. But one thing about it, and two things for sure, when she cares about someone, she will ensure you are connected to the right people and the resources to help you grow, whether it's spiritually or professionally. She really does play an integral part in this story, y'all. Now, Big Mama informed me that she was a guest speaker at an upcoming women's conference entitled My Sister's Keeper, and it was going to be held on October 15th, and the venue was not too far from where I lived. I was so eager, y'all, to attend because the panel was filled with African American women that ranged from lifestyles of entrepreneurship, authors, life coaches. Most importantly, though, the keynote speaker was the Honorable Dr. Smith. I had heard big things about Dr. Smith. Baby, he had the apostolic world in a chokehold, and I wanted to meet this man of God. Sometimes being around the right people while God is opening doors can show you how important it is to keep your faith in him. If he did it for them, he most certainly gonna do it for you. So I told Randy that I wanted to attend the conference. He was cool with it. Y'all, I booked a makeup appointment. I got slayed, and I called myself FaceTiming my man. I told him, look how beautiful I am. And he said, you are beautiful, but what made you get your makeup done though? I told him that anytime I go to any type of event like this, I give face, baby. But the way that he asked that question kind of had me a little confused though. It was just the tone. Child, that man instantly just wanted to know what time I was coming home. Now, one thing about Randy, he was going to try to make a plan while I already had plans. At the event, I walked in and I spotted Will's wife, Joy, at the front door. I was so surprised to see her there, but it made sense because Will treat Big Mama like his real mama. So in this case, Joy is her daughter too. Now, I bought a VIP ticket, so I go ahead and sit my pretty self on down at the very front, and the conference was amazing. I actually left a little early, but I was able to catch Dr. Smith and his wife as I made it out the door. I introduced myself to the both of them and went on home. Now, I can't verify the date on this, and for the life of me, it has been deleted from my personal notes in my phone, but one night something came over Randy. I was asleep, and in the middle of the night, Randy climbed on top of me and began to have sex with me while I was asleep. By the time I realized what that man was doing, because I was really in a deep sleep, I was completely shocked. This man was practicing celibacy until marriage. He removed himself from off of me so fast. He set his feet on the floor and he started hitting himself upside the head, and he cried. He told me that it was supposed to be different with me. He kept saying that he messed up and that he shouldn't have done it. He was stupid, that this was going to mess everything up now. He was genuinely hurt. I consoled him. I told him it's going to be okay. We all fall short, man. We actually did, though, go a while sleeping beside one another and not engaging in intercourse. A part of me felt extremely bad because in my mind, he had this unrealistic expectation that we could be under the same roof until marriage without being sexually active. Now look at me. And at that time, I was madly attracted to him sexually. So the thought of us holding out was like literally pure BS to me. Child, it was times I was trying to take him on, what's that Keith Sweat song? Merry around and around. Okay. Now, listen, once the narcissist has like focused their attention on the individual seeking to extract as much validation as possible, this fixation will continue until the narcissist's interest wanes. often due to their ever shifting desires and short attention span.